Well, this makes me think of your video about symbolism and how many symbols started off as good. And I'm thinking of the swastika. I went to Southeast Asia and there were swastikas everywhere. And this, before I knew it, had a good meaning originally. And I was confused. I was like, did the Nazis come through here? Like, what? And, it's like so many of the symbols now, like the pentacle, you invert it, pentacle has spirit at the top, material world at the bottom. Then you invert it and you put spirit below the material, and now it's evil. And there's many symbols. I'm thinking of like the Illuminati. It's a beautiful symbol of like the all-seeing eye, and then you chop the top of the pyramid off the rest of the pyramid, and it becomes this symbol of ultimate power and greed. And I love that video about symbols you made. That really made me realize how much symbols rule our life.
Yeah, I had to make that video after my false light video because I did the as above, so below on the thumbnail. And everyone was like, oh my God, why did you do that? You're a Satanist. And so I was like, oh, I need to explain what symbols are first of all. But honestly, I just did that because I thought, what's the false light? So I was just, like trying to show like, if a person watches the video, they'll get that it's a schism. But I guess it's not about that. The video performed very well though for my content, for my genre, because of that thumbnail. So I can't all blame it. I could have changed it by now. I didn't.
Yeah. How do symbols rule our life?
Symbols rule our lives through the power they wield. So what that means is that if there's a very strong symbol, kind of like the swastika as you used, and another one that's even like less known by that society, by that secret society, the Nazis were fueled by a secret society, is the black sun. The black sun is one of the most alchemical symbols ever, but now it's for sure equated with dark occultism. So it's those things where once you understand the power that these symbolisms represent, you'll see that they manifest on more than one level. So there's a level that we can call like a representation. These symbols are showing you a representation of a thing that is powerful. And there's this huge fight in like the medieval times about like people saying, no, that's all a symbol is. It's just a representation of something that's too abstract. And then there was this other kind of like school of thought that was like, no, 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 no. The symbols are the power themselves, and they're just the closest proximity to it that we can touch. So they're not just a thing that's pointing to the above. They're the closest representation of that thing. Kind of like the way that we'll view someone and we'll be like, you're not divine, but that thing that we talk about and we've congregated and we were told is the divine. It's like, no, the closest thing to you is divine. It's just in this realm. So it's expressing in how it would look in this realm. So symbols are all of those. There was no need for a fight. Symbols manifest their power on more than one level. So not only are they pointing to an archetypal power and representing it, they also literally contain that power within it. And then on top of that, what you'll get is something, and this isn't taught, you'll get the gnosis of a symbol. Nobody can tell a person the gnosis of a symbol. When I started, I'm trying to wean off of the word downloads, but I'm going to just kind of like rely on them for this because I can't think of a better word. When I receive downloads from a symbol, nobody teaches you that layer. And that's why you'll see like Da Vinci, like Da Vinci paintings will have like more than one layer to them. So you'll learn about one layer where it's like, yeah, there was a cult of John the Baptist. Okay, yeah, there was a cult of John the Baptist, and I'm sure that that's why this artist put this inside there. It was to symbolize that. But also the level of intelligence behind many of these people and behind many of the way that they depicted art or symbols also was in a way where it wasn't just the way that now we're trying to look back and interpret it. We can also get some, let's call it a third factor of je ne sais quoi. It's this thing that the symbol's now directly communicating to you, or this artwork is directly communicating to you. So it's now acting literally as the portal that we were fighting over it. Like, is it this? Is it that? It's literally doing its job. It's acting as a portal that is now directly downloading or transmitting knowledge to us through it. Does this make sense?
That makes perfect sense. That was really well explained. And I'm so glad you brought up Da Vinci, because I love his Last Supper painting. And the Olympics last summer did something which I saw in their opening ceremony. They did a inverted Da Vinci where it was all this indulgence, and I don't know, have you seen this image? Or
I
this
saw it. I saw it.
It was all these trends, and it was kind of pedophilic. They had children, and there was I'll probably throw it up on the screen. But it was an inverted Last Supper, clearly. And then after, there was a lot of backlash from Christians. And the organizers of the Olympics were like, no, that wasn't meant to be the Last Supper. And it was like so obviously meant. It was so obvious.
No, it was obvious.
Yeah. So what do you think they were trying to convey by doing that to the Last Supper?
The Olympics is always like the largest dark ritual. I mean, there's other ones that are as large, but that one's like a really large one where they don't even hide anything. It's kind of one of those things where at this point, if you don't see past it, that is a universal checkpoint. Nobody even had to like come up to you and say, hey, like an angel doesn't have to come down and tell you, you have free will. Look at this. Do you understand that they are trying to show you something about their nature, something about the nature of reality itself, something at all? Like that's a catalyst. So now what we're looking at is, once again, the lowest common denominators. We're looking at like apathy. Also that, and like, to be fair, very manufactured media, because horrible things can be said blatantly, and they have been said blatantly. And the media just doesn't cover it. And I'm over the media. I cried about the media like 2 decades ago. I'm not even mad about the media. Sometimes people go like, why is she laughing when I say really dark stuff? And I'm just laughing because I'm at that point in my own journey. I was already crying. I was already mad. So I'm not saying the media, but at the same time, everything's in front of our face laid out. And you don't need the media to tell you to be shocked or offended. You don't need the media to tell you, hey, that's dark. But some people are literally at that level of consciousness to where the media dictates anything to them, and that their baseline's apathy if the media doesn't come in and like tell them what to think or feel.
I like how you brought up dark rituals. That shot off a light bulb in my mind. And it does seem like there's some dark thing that they're trying to show the world. And I mean, I'm curious, like, why, if they're doing all these dark things in the shadows, why do they need to like show the world it on display? Is this like part of karmic retribution? Like they need to, like, if they're going to poison us, they need to like tell us that they're going to poison us so they don't have it on their soul, on their karma.
Yeah. So that would be predictive programming, or no. That would be revelation of the method. So what they're doing is revelation of the method. Karmic retribution is kind of what you could look at as like the active. So let's almost dissect these into yin and yang. Karmic retribution would be the yang. You would need to take an action on behalf of them. So how they could send people to war, and they could give flimsy excuses and no evidence, but compelling fears. If those people are doing those biddings, they still have conscious, and I don't mean consciousness, conscious, like good or bad. Mm-hmm. This whole realm is designed for better or for worse, whether it's a dark demiurge or whether it's, divinity winking at us. It's designed to develop conscious. Man is at a a graduation point. And as I was saying, man is a demigod. What that means is that our next state for progression is one that depends on this state being graduated or matured. And that would be one to develop conscience. That's also called dharma, but without making it too mystical. So conscious would need to be applied or learned. And so karmic retribution is the active form of like, are you killing those people or assaulting them in this other land for somebody's oil and consolidation into a one world order? Now, the passive or the yin side would be revelation of the method. It's where you don't actually have to take an action on someone's behalf, but you will just as strongly help create that reality and that timeline that they want, because you're watching them reveal to you what they're going to do, and you're not doing anything about it. So your consent is through more of a passive pathway rather than an active pathway.